Breaking news on Denver 7 at 5 a.m. The former Prime Minister of Japan is dead. We are getting new details about the suspect behind this assassination.
An off-season shakeup in the works for the Avs. Darcy Kemper appears to be heading to free agency, the replacement the Avs just got in a trade.
Also, a lot of Coloradans go hiking, but one man is really going to the extra mile.
I am going to push a peanut up Pikes Peak Saturday.
Yeah, he's not nuts. He's done this before. The history he's hoping to make this time around. I don't know what the peanut has to do with the hike, but hey, more power to him. Yes. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Brady.
And I'm Jessica Crawford. We are gearing up for a hot weekend out there. Meteorologist Stacey Donaldson is in for Lisa this morning with a look at the forecast. And you were telling us, Stacey, we got to be mentally ready. For what
emotionally, physically, all the things. Yes, yeah. We're going to be right around 100 as we go into the weekend. So a lot different than what we've experienced this last week as we've been slowly creeping these temperatures warmer and warmer. We're starting out with 60 degrees outside right now. Best advice is get out early for the next few days as you can enjoy the cooler air versus later in the afternoon where you're probably not going to want to be out there so much. Now we do have scattered showers just leaving the state. At this point, we have partly cloudy skies here in Denver, and we are expecting afternoon thunderstorms here mostly across the eastern plains. I do think they'll be to the east of Denver, so we'll have partly cloudy skies with highs in the 90s. Up in the high country, lots of sunshine on the way. Temperatures in the 70s around 10,000 feet, so really pretty weather for us today. Temperatures in the low to mid 90s, not too far from our average afternoon highs this time of year, which would be in the upper 80s.
And if you're up this early in the morning listening to our voices or watching, your commute is looking good. Almost every single area throughout the metro is in the green, but I do want to let you know about your drive times. The westbound C470 from Wadsworth to I-70, 14 minutes. Eastbound only running about 12 minutes at this time. Westbound I-270 from I-70 to I-25, that's 6 minutes, and eastbound running about the same if you're headed to or from the airport. We do have a slight slowdown to tell you about. Eastbound I-70 from I-25 to Pena Boulevard running about 12 minutes. That just turned yellow for me. I have a feeling though it'll start to turn red throughout the morning, so you just want to keep an eye on that if you're headed to or from the airport. I want to go ahead and show you our CDOT camera this morning. This is at University Boulevard and I-25. Traffic flowing very smoothly there this morning.
All right, Micah, thank you. We are following some breaking international news this morning. The former Prime Minister of Japan was assassinated during a campaign speech. Shinzo Abe was the longest serving Japanese prime minister. Video footage shows he was shot twice in the back. Police captured the suspect quickly. They say he used a homemade shotgun. You can see it in these pictures right here. Now, officials haven't released a motive for the shooting yet. However, this weekend is Japan's election for the parliament's upper house, and Abe was campaigning for one of the candidates.
Back here in the U.S., funerals begin today for the victims of the deadly July 4th parade shooting in Illinois. The alleged shooter's father says he is taking no responsibility after signing a consent form for his son to obtain a gun permit. Here's ABC's Monaco Sarabdi.
This morning, newly revealed police reports show several disturbing incidents involving the suspected Highland Park parade shooter and his family. A report from April 2019 saying the suspect attempted to commit suicide by machete. Less than 6 months later, police were called to the home again after the suspect threatened to kill everyone in the household. The suspect turning over multiple weapons, including a 24-inch samurai sword. Police submitting this document declaring the suspect a clear and present danger. But the suspect's father, who sponsored his son's gun permit, tells ABC News he wasn't aware of the suicide attempt and believes the threat against his family was not genuine.
Making threats to the family, I think it was taken out of context where it's like just a child outburst, whatever he was upset about.
A candlelight vigil was held last night in Highland Park for the 7 victims of Monday's rampage. Funeral services for 3 of them are scheduled today.
We have each other. We will lean on each other. We will lift each other up.
We're now learning more about one of the youngest survivors of the massacre, 8-year-old Cooper Roberts, who's in critical condition on a ventilator. His family attends the July 4th parade each year.
Cooper was shot in the chest. and he suffered significant injuries, including a severed spinal cord.
Doctors fear Cooper may be permanently paralyzed. His twin brother, Luke, and his mother, Julie, were also shot. His mom, waking up in a different hospital, quickly requested to be discharged when she heard about Cooper's condition.
Quite frankly, she probably should not have been discharged, but she insisted on it so that she could be at her son's side.
As for the suspect's father, he says his son was raised with good morals. He says he does not regret sponsoring the gun permit, but says the system needs to be overhauled. Mona Kosar-Abdi, ABC News, New York.
A group of Colorado gun owners is suing Superior over its stricter gun safety laws. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta is live with why they say the days-old law needs to be dropped.
Superior's stricter gun laws ban assault weapons as well as magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. This was passed just last month after that Uvalde, Texas school shooting. And now Rocky Mountain Gun Owners says that law is unconstitutional. So that group actually filed a lawsuit in federal court. This happened just yesterday. It actually cites the recent Supreme Court decision, that's Bruin, which struck down a part of New York's concealed carry law. Now, the decision said governments can regulate but can't prohibit the public carrying of firearms by law-abiding citizens for the purpose of self-defense. Before the Superior gun laws were passed, we did speak with town trustee Tim Howard, who told Denver 7 he hopes Superior's measures and the ones like them that were passed in Boulder, Louisville, and Lafayette prompts some state action here.
My hope is that the state legislature will take forward a number of these for potential statewide adoption, that Governor Polis will look and recognize this is what the people of Colorado want.
And in its lawsuit statement, Rocky Mountain Gun Owners Executive Director Taylor Rhodes said the group was filing this lawsuit because, quote, Superior's anti-gun ordinance files directly in the face of our right to keep and bear arms, and we're not going to stand idly by and let this town or any other rogue government trample on our right to self-defense. Now, the lawsuit, it does also target a state law that was passed after the Boulder King Super shooting that gives local governments the authority to regulate guns. And we did reach out to some of the Superior trustees, but we haven't heard back as of news time this morning. We're in Denver. I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
All right, thank you, Veronica. School resource officers from all over the country are wrapping up a conference in Colorado today. 2 people who were impacted by the tragedy at Sandy Hook Elementary will be the closing speakers. Michelle Gay co-founded the nonprofit Save and Sound Schools after losing her daughter Josephine Grace in the attack. And school resource officer Will Chapman was one of the first responders that day. Last night, conference attendees gathered at the Columbine High School Memorial. Former Principal Frank DeAngelis read the names of all 13 victims as the group reflected on their mission to keep our kids and our teachers safe. This morning, the partner of former Aurora Police Chief Vanessa Wilson will be in court. Robin Nicita is charged with retaliating against an election official. Investigators say Nicita falsely reported an Aurora City Council member for child abuse. The report was filed just a day after the city leader criticized Vanessa Wilson in an interview.
Denver wants to host the NFL Draft. The Denver Business Journal reports the Denver Sports Commission plans to apply to host the event the next time applications are open. The city will likely try to host the event between 2025 and 2027. Cities that hosted the draft during the pandemic reported economic impacts between $94 and $133 million. That's much higher than the $57 million Denver estimated from hosting the MLB All-Star Game last summer. Next year's draft is in Kansas City and the 2024 draft is in Detroit.
And as the NHL draft continues today, Avs goalie Darcy Kemper appears to be headed toward free agency. General manager Joe Sakic says he talked to Kemper's agent and Kemper wanted more money. Sakic says he was facing a salary cap and couldn't afford to overspend on Kemper. So now Sakic is already preparing for a goalie changeup. The Avs got Alexander Georgiev in a trade with the Rangers. Already, the Avs are the favorites to win the Cup again next season.
There is no better way to cool off than with some ice cream. One Colorado chain has a new location that you can check out this weekend.
And Colorado sisters sharing everything, including scoliosis.
I bent down and she saw my curve in my spine.
It was okay for like about a year. And then I had to get a brace, and that was like the end of my life. Not really, but like I felt like it was.
Yeah. Yeah, tough one there. I learned about a relatively new way that doctors in Colorado are straightening things out.